Hi, Kathy. Hello. Hello, hello. How's it
Hello.
going? Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Just it's Groundhog Day.
Did you enjoy your nice birthday?
We did.
That's good.
We just hung around and did nothing.
Oh, that's not a bad thing to do.
No, it's just Dustin, in his little special ways, he does not like change.
Oh, of course.
Not having a birthday breakfast or dinner with the family just kind of really sets him off. He's really angry.
Yes, yes. Hi, guys. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Patrick. Katie
Good
is
morning.
in the house. Did you guys have a nice weekend?
Yeah, not bad.
Yeah. Nicole, any Easter egg hunting at your house?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Pretty sure there's still one egg that's missing.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't have like chocolate where it like really gets, you find it next year and like, what is this?
Oh, it'll start stinking.
Yes. Hi, Margaret. Thanks for joining us. Haley and my mom hid eggs last week in the middle of the week, so we were already like ready to roll by Sunday, and then she ended up just putting those little tiny toys in Haley's eggs. So I think it was just the act of the hunt and not so much what was in the eggs, although we did put a little bit of candy and a little bit of money and stuff for her, so it was a lot of fun.
Oh, good.
So we'll see here. Hi, Terry. Thanks for joining us. Did you have a nice Easter, Terry?
It was like any other day.
Just the usual, same place, same time, same bat channel.
My son came up though, so that was nice.
Oh, that's great. Yes. Yeah. Where was he coming from?
Inglewood.
Oh, okay. Oh, good. He's not too far at all. So,
No.
yes, that's good.
How about you?
We actually, so Haley had her egg hunt. I did rent the movie, The Trolls, paid the whole $20 to have it in our house for 2 days. So, although the original definitely was a little bit better, but this was good. Lots of good songs. Yes. So, Margaret, did you do anything? Did you get a chance to do anything, or?
Nope, just like
Nope,
another.
Just hung out, just another day. Hey, another day to be healthy and alive, right? Well, that's all we're.
That's right.
Yes. So, all right, you guys, it's top of the hour. Thank you so much. Welcome to week 3 of the masterclass. Can you guys believe that it's already the 3rd week? And we are entering the 4th week of quarantine at the stay-at-home order. We're anxiously waiting to have that restriction lifted. Although I'm not holding my breath, it's still tentative at April 26th. But for those of you guys who are joining us on Facebook Live, welcome to the Healthier Than Ever Masterclass. We've been doing this for the last 2 weeks, and this is our 3rd week of this class. And we thought that since it is roughly the 4th week of entering the quarantine, let's talk about stress, shall we? Let's start the Monday with something really positive here. So, but nonetheless, we wanted to be here to support you guys. Just to let you know, we are MedFit Medical Weight Loss, and we help busy individuals just like you guys lose, transformational weight and stay healthy. My mother is here, and I hope she doesn't mind me talking about her. I'm going to talk about her anyway. She's fine. She's taking care of Haley. I just want to let you know, my mother is actually pretty inspirational. She struggles with her weight. We've had, our fair share of Asian food, although Vietnamese food is generally pretty healthy, but there's a lot of rice noodles, carbs, type of thing, and so we can get into trouble ourselves. But my mother is a diabetic, and we have cut her insulin by over 90% just in the last 3 weeks. It's been amazing. And
Wow.
I tell you guys, and she was worried because she wasn't going to the rec center because they were closed. She's not going to her usual yoga class, and she just honestly, like anybody else, sure, we could go outside, but that's not safe either, especially for my mother who's in her 70s. Don't really want her out and about, being put at risk. And we always had this conversation. You start with, making sure that you make the changes properly. And we literally, she's barely on just a few units of her baseline insulin, and everything else is controlled by food. So I just want to kind of give you guys some sort of kick us off on a Monday, because as you know that the coronavirus tends to attack those who have chronic conditions such as diabetes, heart failure, high blood pressure issues. Unfortunately, those who are overweight is also considered in that category as high risk. So, but I wanted to give you guys hope that if my mother, who only eats Asian food, can change her habits and cut her insulin by over 90%, then there is hope for everybody else. So, so it looks like some more of the gang is in here, Emily and Noah. And then we just saw Katie, you guys. Thanks for joining us. So everyone say hi. Hi to everybody. Yes,
Hey.
yes. Woohoo.
Hello.
Yes, for those of you guys who don't know, Emily is a new team member. She started 2 weeks ago, and she is part of our community manager. So she's really making sure all of our MedFit members are taken care of, and we check on everybody and make sure everybody's got everything that they need from us. So
thank you for that introduction. Hi, everyone.
Yes.
Hi.
So, all right, you guys. So let's talk about just again a quick recap. So, we've been talking about, again, remember the success triangle of maintenance. And as you can see, the 3 components of the triangle, starting from the left lower corner of the triangle, you start with mindset. You need to get your mindset in order for your health to be successful long term. Then you hit the top of the triangle, and that is where you hit the mechanics. That includes your nutrition, your body chemistry, your medications, anything mechanical about this whole process, and metabolism is included in that. And then the third part of the triangle on the right bottom corner is movement. And the true formula, or the secret to success, is that you have to go in that sequence, in that priority order, in order to really see long-term results. Meaning you have to fix your mindset, then you have to fix your mechanics, then you can fix your movement, and then all 3 are interdependent with each other to make things work. So we're going to kick off again on Monday mindset. Last week we talked about mindset as a muscle. How are you going to really work that mindset bicep? It's all about making sure that you are cluing into the positive things, supportive beliefs. What are you feeding your mind before you feed your mouth? So paying attention to the news, social media, the people that you surround yourself with. And we talked about just also giving yourself grace, letting go of expectation, especially around exercise. We always feel obligated that we have to exercise, but the reality is that if we let go of expectation and really enjoy just the movement and health, then it works for you. And then Stephanie talked about, the foods and how that affects your immunity. And if you stay in the Facebook group, then you saw some of the recipes that she posted. And then finally, Noah finished us off with great options for breakfast, which in our opinion is the most important meal of the day. So, all right, so let's kick us off. So for those of you guys, it is stressful. It is literally, we're entering the 4th week of this quarantine. And so you can imagine you're thinking about, oh my gosh, I literally haven't really been able to leave the house in weeks. You know, we know that the entire country recession, gosh, I think I saw the statistic is over almost under 7 million people are currently unemployed in this country. You know, and then the businesses that are still standing are just scrambling like all of us to trying to, you know, make sure that we support our community and you know, keep everybody afloat type of thing. So amongst sort of this sort of stressfulness that we're dealing with, how in the world do you keep yourself from getting pulled in and eating unnecessarily when it comes to managing your stress? Okay, so let's talk about habit. Terry, did you get a chance to, has that book Atomic Habits arrived yet? Not yet.
No, it hasn't.
I figured I'm gonna type in here again. This is probably one of my favorite books, one of favorite books for many people, and it's called Atomic Habits. And it is just a wonderful book about how we operate as humans. Okay, so I'm going to give you a little bit of a background. Okay, the reality is that we operate based on habit. Okay, so think about it. You literally woke up and you probably, you know, used the restroom, you probably like brushed your teeth, you probably like showered, you got dressed, got ready, you went downstairs, you know, grabbed a cup of coffee, or, you know, it's just your normal routine. And you think about it, you probably did that yesterday, and you did that the day before, and the day before, and you did that exact same process without even thinking about it. Boom, it was out of habit. Okay. But so that's, you know, that is considered what we call a good habit, right? Well, what about the bad habits? Let's talk about the bad habits. Sometimes I have a bad habit of checking my phone just for like any notifications, or like if there's something on Facebook or whatnot. Sometimes I just feel like, oh, I need to shut off, you know, from my phone type of thing. Some people just want to wander in the kitchen right around 3 o'clock just to get a piece of chocolate. Or usually at night, 9 o'clock is also another sort of just wandering, you know, type of thing, getting a piece of chocolate, maybe grabbing some cereal or just things like that. Some people like to bite their nails. Luckily, I'm not a nail biter, but some people, you know, like to bite their nails. And so now you're gonna like, you want to take an inventory, like, wow, what are my habits? And we call it pattern of existence. I've said that before, and I'm going to type it here in the chat box here, pattern of existence. Okay, so I want you guys to start thinking about what are your habits, both good and bad. And so we want to sort of identify, okay, what are the habits that work well for me and what are the habits that don't work well for me? So my favorite habit that unfortunately has been compromised is my love for kickboxing. In case you guys have been following me before, I kid you not, I've been going to kickboxing every single Sunday at 8:30 for the entire year. And the only reason I've missed is because I've been out of town. And I probably could count, it was probably, I don't know, less than 10 times that I've missed, but I went to kickboxing every Sunday at 8:30. So let's talk about how that habit was formed. Okay, so, and this is something that was talked in Atomic Habits. There's also another author that talks about this too. So let's talk about how habits are formed. So it's actually a very simple 3-step process. Number 1, a habit is formed by the start of a trigger. Okay, so the first step is what triggers the whole process to even develop a habit in the first place. For simplicity, first thing in the morning when you wake up, you want to brush your teeth. The absolute just idea of waking up in the morning is enough of a trigger for you to start that teeth brushing process. Okay, so that's step number 1. Step number 2 is the actual habit. So brushing your teeth would be step number 2. And then step number 3 is the actual reason or reward for why you brushed your teeth, why you have that step process. Okay? So you want to basically sort of think about it, okay, that's 3-step process. And I know that, I'm still going to have to kind of look it up, but at some point, someone established it takes 21 days to establish a habit. And I think that's just an average, but the reality is that that's just a generalization. You can actually start a habit today if you wanted to, if you understand this 3-step process. Okay, so let me walk you through sort of my example of developing the kickboxing habit. Okay, so my trigger for the kickboxing habit was every Sunday at 8:30. I signed my butt online to make sure that I, paid for my class and that I was going to show up. So just the fact that it was Sunday morning, that was my trigger. Okay, and then the actual going to class was the root. And then the reward was, I felt really good. I don't know if you guys, done anything like that, but I'm just gonna let you know, punching and kicking a bag for an hour is actually pretty darn fun. Something about the relief, the stress, the focus, the athleticism, just everything about it, I really enjoyed, and that's how I kept myself in shape. Okay, so those are just kind of the basics. I know I just don't want to bore you too much, but I wanted to kind of give you a very foundational step 1 trigger, step 2 process, step 3 sort of the end result. Okay, so how do you change or start a new habit? So in Atomic Habits, we as humans want to do the easy route. Path of least resistance, right? I'm going to put this here, path of least resistance. So, because guess what? Our brains want to be comfortable. We love being comfortable. We do not like to do any new things that put us out of our comfort zone. We don't like change. We don't like challenges. We actually like routine. Okay, so I'm going to go here. So we're gonna make this easy for you. So reason, routine, result. Okay, so if you guys can kind of put that into your memory bank, that is the formation of a habit right there. Reason, routine, result. Okay, now here is the science of how to change a habit. Okay, the trick is that the reason, the result are actually the hardest ones to change. Okay, it's the routine that you need to change. I'm going to put here, routine is what you need to change. Okay, so I appreciate you guys taking notes here and following along. So let's talk about a serious habit. So for those who are aware of alcoholism, there is a trigger for alcohol. So it could be, just hanging out with friends that drink. It could be like passing a bar or a restaurant. It could also be 9 o'clock at night. It could be the sort of that trigger, that reason, okay? The result of alcohol is you get to relax. A lot of people relieve their anxiety. Alcohol is sort of like a drug, if you will, that it sort of numbs or alleviates the stress. Maybe not so much in the healthy way, but it does give you the end result that you're looking for, which is sort of an escape. Okay? So if you understand, okay, so what's triggering me? Let's just pretend 9 o'clock, okay, and I want to relieve myself of this stress. Instead of using alcohol, which is your routine, that's what you want to change in order to get to your end result in the same way. Does everybody follow me so far? Hopefully this is making sense, because this is again something that we spend a lot of time with our patients, is just that Once you understand your trigger, that's step number 1. And then you actually need to figure out what your step number 3 is. Why in the world are you doing that habit in the first place? And then you change the routine, which is step number 2. That's how you're going to change your habit. Okay? So believe it or not, it's really, really hard to change the trigger. And it's really, really hard to change the end result. But believe it or not, it's easy to change the routine. Okay? Believe it or not, that's how the birth of Alcoholics Anonymous became about. And that's why it works such as a perfect system for those who struggle with alcohol, is because as soon as someone gets a trigger, they understand that I have so much anxiety, I need an escape. What do people do when they do that? Instead of drinking alcohol, they contact their support buddy or they go to an AA group. Okay, that's purely the formation of Alcoholics Anonymous, believe it or not, is based on this process. So if you understand that, then you're like, oh, okay. So, the whole time we've been really trying to kind of figure out, how do I change my habit here? But it's really just kind of the routine if you understand why you're doing it in the first place. Okay, so, all right. So you guys have any questions? We'll take a quick pause here because there's a lot to sort of process here. It's not easy, but the framework, if you will, once you understand each step, then you can really understand, okay, so now if I know this is how I live, what do I need to change about myself in order to sort of develop the right habits? Okay. So, all right, you guys have any thoughts so far? What kind of questions do you have? Okay, so, all right, so let's talk about the habit of exercise. That's probably one of the hardest things that people can develop because, like I said, we talked about last week, and me included, I felt like it was an obligation. I felt like it was just more of an expectation. I had just every excuse under the sun of why I shouldn't have done it. But let's talk about how I reworked that habit. Okay, so let's identify the trigger. Okay, so the trigger was, for me, Sundays was just to let you know, I live a very busy life. As you can tell, I have a 5-year-old. I take care of my husband. I cook. I do a lot of like the household stuff. And Sunday felt like, out of all the days, it was the easiest time where I could step away and that my husband and my daughter could still stay alive for 1 hour while I exercise. I kid you not. I made my trigger, again, the path of least resistance. I understood that my resistance wasn't actually not wanting to exercise. My resistance was feeling guilty that I was leaving my family to take care of myself. So when I came to that understanding and I created, okay, how can I lessen that resistance? Guess what? That trigger became easy. Kathy, it looks like you wanted to say something.
Question. So when you did that on Sunday, did you plan that Saturday night and say, this is the time I'm going to carve out for this because I can do it on Sunday, and this is what time I'm going to, let everybody know that this is the time I'm going to do it? Did you do that like Saturday? Do you do that like the morning of? Like
Very
Sunday
good question. I know that there are some team members here. I kid you not, for a good 3 weeks, I was whining about not exercising and giving all the excuses of why I couldn't exercise. And I came to the point where I looked at the kickboxing class, and it took me forever, but I decided well before that I was going to sign up for that Sunday class weeks in advance. Okay, so in order to start the new habit, to answer your question, I didn't just like immediately do it. I had, because I understood my resistance. Now, some people can do it the night before. That's sort of what I'm trying to illustrate. But for me, because I understood, it wasn't the act of like, oh my gosh, the exercise is going to be painful, I don't want to do it. For some reason, it was because I felt guilty taking time for myself when I should be, doing something for my family. And it was the perfect time because my husband and my daughter aren't doing anything anyway Sunday morning. So I could sort of sneak out at 8:30 for an hour, be back by 9:30 without like a hiccup. But I took longer than what I wanted to overcome the resistance. But you have to kind of understand what the resistance is in the first place. Okay, but how did I keep my word? Is because I had to actually sign online. And, they have a cancellation policy if I don't show up. That's how I was able to commit to it and not back out, because I didn't want to pay a fee, and waste money. And then second, the instructor was actually, she had reached out and introduced herself. And so I was like, oh no, now she knows my name. And so it would have been almost embarrassing for me to not show up. So I created sort of that outside perspective on holding me to something that I said I would do. And that's what we call here at MedFit integrity. And that's
So do you do that? Do you do that, your exercise at home at the same time now that you would do your kickboxing?
Very good question. Yes. The thankfully, my kickboxing class has been able to do live workouts on Facebook. But if they're not at that time, I still, believe it or not, as silly as it is, I still have my water bottle and my boxing gloves and my shoes, and I put it right next to the basement door the night before as a reminder that 8:30 Sundays is my trigger. This is a very good question, Kathy, because I tell you, it has been so easy to break. I worked really, really hard all last year. It makes me sad that I'm not as aggressive, but I've kept up the habit because I'm telling my brain, oh, it's 8:30 Sunday. You know what you need to do, so that I'm not negotiating myself out of the habit. Does that make sense?
Yes, and that's the thing that I keep trying to do, is saying, okay, this is a good time. No, that's not a good time. I'll do this particular exercise, and then it's like, yeah, no, maybe not. I mean, I think about it a lot.
Yes.
I've not gotten to the point where I can actually commit to doing a particular thing at a particular time and stick with it.
Yep. And so you just really, really have to identify what is really the resistance. It's not necessarily because you're lazy, or maybe you hurt, or it's just because there's a fear behind that. And so when you identify, oh my gosh, because like I said, I realized I thought I was out of shape. I just thought I was like, I was like, I don't belong in kickboxing. I'm old and frail, and I'm totally not athletic, and they're going to laugh at me and blah, blah, blah. But the real resistance is because I still have mom guilt in leaving my family for 1 hour. And when I realized, wow, okay, so how do I manipulate that to my advantage and say, okay, I won't feel guilty because my husband and my daughter are probably still in bed by around that time anyways. And by the time I come back, they won't even realize that I was gone. And that's how I was able to create that trigger. Okay. Now, the cool thing is that now it's easy because I can just have my daughter come down to the basement with me. And then that lessens even more of that resistance. And then it just makes it that much easier to exercise. But that's what you really want to think about is that what is that real resistance? And it's not the act of exercise. There's something about it behind it type of thing. Okay. And then, so how did I keep it up? Why am I so crazy to have gone to kickboxing every single Sunday, you know, for probably 45 out of the 52 weeks last year? Is because it made me feel so good after. I felt strong. I felt confident. Sure, kind of, believe it or not, it definitely was a good workout and I felt healthy about it. But believe it or not, that wasn't my drive. Health wasn't my drive. It was because I felt like, almost like that one time where I feel like, gosh, if I can make it through this kickboxing, I can do anything. That's why I kept coming back for more. It wasn't because I, you know, lost this much body fat or I gained this type of muscle or whatnot. It's just like, man.
It was more of a mental.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And it's so addictive, but in a good way. And that's the point. When you develop a habit that makes you feel capable, that's what my habit was, is I felt capable. And that translated into being a capable mother, a capable wife, a capable business owner. It was just that reminder to say, you know, yeah, Angela, you can do it too. And so once I understood that, then my husband said, I want to make sure that you go every Sunday because I see the benefit. And so I really circulated, you know, broke that resistance, but then really opened up the actual reward. And then thankfully, I found the routine to get me there. And then now, how has it become a habit? Because I don't even think about it. I say, Sunday, up, you know where I'll be. No negotiation whatsoever. I don't care if I'm tired. I don't care if it's snowing outside. It's Sunday at 8:30. I have alleviated all types of resistance, knowing that I will get to the other side. Okay. And then I just practiced that, and then it started to translate into other decisions that I was making, as far as you know, eating properly for breakfast. I'm a little burnt out now, but I still eat Greek yogurt first thing in the morning. Same thing, out of habit. You guys, I'll let you know. It's not like I open up a Greek yogurt and say, yippee, this is the best breakfast ever. But I also know that it's super easy. I grab it out of my refrigerator and it's a safe choice, knowing that I'm going to get my protein and then, you know, very little, if any, sugar, you know, in that Greek yogurt type of thing. And then I also know that my weight stays exactly the same when I follow that process. Okay. But the reality is that you actually only need to master one habit, which then translates into the other things that you do. I don't know who originated the quote, because there's a lot of people that say this quote, but I'm going to type it here. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Okay, so I'm going to type that in the chat box here. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Okay. So, so those are the steps that I want you guys to think about. Okay, so think about, okay, what is the true resistance, and how can I make that trigger an easy trigger when I relieve the resistance? And then what's the true reward? How do I make it so worth it that I found a way to get there? And believe it or not, again, it does not take 21 days. It just really takes an understanding of how that process works. And then how do you really solidify, Kathy, you have so many great questions. So how do I keep it? Well, I have external accountability. So I have the support of my husband. And then of course I sign on the class online so that I don't get charged for not showing up. That's a motivator. And then of course I have the instructor who expects me to be there, type of thing. If it was up to me, I would break all the rules, 100%. We all tend to break the rules if nobody is watching out for us. So that's how you're going to really just solidify that habit is just that if you have that accountability from something on the outside. Okay. So I want you guys to process that. Let's talk about a bad habit. Okay, so let's talk about the chocolate at nighttime type of thing. Very, very common. Okay, so we know the trigger is 9 o'clock or at nighttime. Okay, and then we know the reward. We want to sort of numb the stress, okay, or make it go away. So how I would approach this is that, okay, what truly is it about 9 o'clock that really triggers that whole process? Okay, so for a lot of people that I work with, if you are a MedFit member, it's too quiet at 9 o'clock. That's really the true trigger behind it. It's not necessarily 9 o'clock. It's because you've been running around all day. You've actually probably been keeping busy that you almost distracted yourself from wandering off. But 9 o'clock is when you're like beat down, your energy is low, you're stressed to the max, but you have just a moment to confront the stress. So that is really the trigger, is just that you had to confront the stress. And instead of confronting the stress, you chose chocolate to avoid confronting the stress. And then you just do it again tomorrow type of thing. Okay. So now we know, okay, well, I don't want to confront the stress. That's the trigger. What is sort of the relief? Okay. So rather than avoiding the confronting of the stress, we actually don't allow ourselves to just feel it. That's really the relief. Is, you know how you get a good cry and then you sort of almost feel better? Have you ever tried not crying and then you try it again next night, not crying, and then you try it again, not crying? You're like resisting yourself from feeling something when all of a sudden you just needed that good cry to sort of almost allow yourself to kind of feel it and then release it type of thing. Okay, so we talked about resistance. Okay, so how in the world do I keep myself from getting chocolate? In the kickboxing, I had to lessen the resistance. Okay, in this scenario, I have to higher the resistance. So first of all, shouldn't have chocolate in the house. That's probably the highest resistance of all, right? If you're gonna get chocolate, get yourself dressed in your slippers, pajamas, and drive yourself down to the 7-Eleven down the street and make it that much harder for you to get to it. Okay. Some people will give me the excuse, well, I have children and, or my husband has chocolate around the house and blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. If you're going to play that game, then the chocolate needs to be on the very top shelf in the pantry, where you actually have to pull out a chair and get your butt off the couch to grab that chair, scooch into the pantry, and get it to the very back corner in order to grab it. It's so funny. Your brain will say, that's too much work. I'm just going to sit here on the couch. Isn't that funny? I want you guys to try that. If you want to reach for something, make it harder for you to reach. Okay? And then you sit there and like, okay, wow, so what is my relief? I'm actually going to feel that stress and really confront it. Again, it goes back to that capableness. We hide through chocolate just thinking that we're not going to be able to make it through the day. We're not capable. We're not going to be able to figure this out. We're not worthy, all of these negative feelings. But maybe at one point you should give yourself the opportunity to say, you know what, I am capable. What is the real stress that I'm dealing with? And why do I feel like I can't confront it? Why do I feel like I can't? And you get yourself into this problem solving mode instead of problem creating mode. Okay, so I'm going to put here in the chat, problem solving mode instead of problem creating mode. Okay, so you know your trigger is 9 o'clock at night. So make it harder for you to reach chocolate, and you know you need to relieve that stress. So let's change the routine. I kid you not. My routine that I changed is that, so I was dealing with a lot of headaches, like a lot of like stress-induced headaches. This was like several years ago. I did see an acupuncturist, and I'm not a needles person. For those of you guys who aren't bothered by acupuncture needles, you know, kudos for you. But obviously it was like just a one-time treatment. And I asked my acupuncturist, well, how am I going to keep up with this? I can't like be sitting in your office 30 minutes every single day with needles, you know, in my body. And so she gave me an herbal tea that I had to drink once in the morning and once at nighttime. And so I was a good patient, and instead of you know, grabbing for something to eat that I normally did, I drank the herbal tea. And so that kind of, it was warm. It calmed my stress down. By the time I drank the tea, my stomach was so full that I didn't even have like a choice to try to eat. I was like, I'm just going to go to bed. And then it became sort of a habit. And then all of a sudden, I really had no need to, you know, grab for something to eat, because I was relieving my stress, and that tea kind of calmed me down so I could collect my thoughts, so that I kind of understood what I needed to do to handle the stress. Does that make sense? So, and I tell you guys, again, I'm claiming it here. It does not require 21 days to create that habit. You know, you just need to have an understanding of how it's formed, whether it's good or bad. And then you'd be amazed if you put sort of these pieces in place, then you get to actually reform it to work for you. And then that's how you are able to operate, so that you don't negotiate with yourself, and your brain will always negotiate to the wrong side of things, right? So you want to sort of go into habit so that you don't negotiate. And that's how we develop these long-term healthy habits. That's why we, you know, create the MedFit program like it is. This is, we're creating like new habits to replace some of the old habits type of thing. Does that make sense? Where are you guys at? Give me some questions here, or comments, or sort of aha, or any type of, you know, discoveries after having this conversation here.
I've tried to go to like a peppermint tea, which is really strong.
Oh yes. Mm-hmm.
That to try it, because it's pretty powerful. So it's like it kind of takes over that other craving.
Yes.
And the more milder herbal teas, I don't get the same.
Gotcha.
I don't get the same kick out of it. You know, it doesn't do as much for me. I like the herbals, but the peppermint tea is like really strong, you know, and kind of wakes things up. And I think it kind of moves my head away from doing that. So if I want to do something bad, I do the peppermint tea instead.
That's great. And it also helps decrease with any type of bloating that you might have. So peppermint is a really good choice.
Yeah.
You know, for that. So, but just kind of understand, wow, what is it about peppermint that really sort of kind of calms things down, you know, both from an emotional state, but even just mechanically, you know, gets everything, you know, out of problem creating mode and into just problem solving mode. So yeah. Good job on that. So how about any of the other guys? What kind of discoveries or things that are coming to mind as you guys start to kind of think about your habits here? So, and then the team MedFit can chime in too if you guys had any sort of thoughts here. I know that there are some people who are making some comments in the Facebook live here. So, but now this is again, this is not easy. It's not something that all of a sudden you master and you say, all right, I got this type of thing. I allege you guys, this takes a lot of time. Now, it doesn't take a lot of time to form, but it really just takes practice each and every day. to keep going. And like I said, I still kind of look back and like, wow, how was I so crazy enough to, I kid you not, I truly went to kickboxing every single Sunday of last year, with the exception of when I was out of town. And I tell you, I was probably just out of town, less than 10 times out of that. But it was just this understanding of why I was doing it in the first place and what I got out of it. And it turned into an easy habit. I kid you not. It was actually very easy, even when it was snowing, even when maybe I was, didn't have like a good night of sleep the night before or whatnot, but it was because the trigger just kind of started that process. And then I always knew the predictable relief at the end. And I chose a healthy routine to get there. Okay. So I'm going to let you guys kind of sit on it. I know that we had a little bit of extended time, but this is why I'm here. I love talking about this. This is why we spend so much time with all of our patients, is because this is truly, you guys master this habit, and you guys are the reason why long-term success is going to be so much easier for you when you live out of habit. And health is a habit. Once you really understand, okay, what's triggering it, how do I lessen the resistance for it, and then just really remind yourself of the amazing feelings, the amazing rewards that you get. And then you start to decide that you no longer compromise because you know how good it feels. Hopefully that makes sense. So Emily puts it in here, she's in the chat box, she says, I love making my magnesium drink at nighttime to curb any cravings for sweets. Yeah, it's from a brand named Calm type of thing. So yes. So all right, you guys, so this is kicking off just how to manage stress eating, how habits play a role. Please feel free to make more comments in the Facebook group. Private message me if you have questions that you prefer to ask me in private. But this is really a pivotal week for us. We chose to talk about stress eating during this week for a very good reason, because we know that you guys are starting to feel it. Like I said, we are entering our 4th week into it, and it's starting to take a toll. It's starting to become a reality that we're not enjoying. So, but this is also meant to be very fun, educational, but a very self-exploratory type of week. So we're super excited to kick this off again, you guys. For those of you who are new to the group, that's what we're here for. I know that you guys are feeling it. If you want a private online consultation with me, just go to denverweightlossclinic.com. That's what we will do. We will literally map out your journey, and we can help you lose weight starting this week. Okay, and we have the MedFit team all ready by your side to really help you, because this journey was not meant for you to do by yourself. So, all right. So you guys, I had a great talk. Hopefully you guys had some like aha moments. Like I said, please feel free to share it. That's why we're here. We want to know what you're thinking. That's really the only way for us to learn from each other. And tomorrow, Stephanie is going to give us some pretty cool health stress eating hacks. So when we do want to eat, we're stressed out, how do we eat but not get ourselves into trouble? So it's going to be a great session. So same time, 11 o'clock, same bat channel. And again, for those of you guys who are new, denverweightlossclinic.com. For those of you guys who know somebody who needs our help, send them our way, and we are right there for you guys. So thank you guys again, and we will see you guys again tomorrow. All right, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll see you.
Thanks, Dr. Tran.
Bye. We'll see you.